Okay, ready?
Yo creo que sí. Sí, dale. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm super excited because one, I have my sister here again, and two, this episode is the beginning of something that I've been super excited to begin. It's called the Smart Corner, which is basically my same corner, only that we're gonna have smarter conversations about
Not just makeup.
just more important conversations that I feel like our generation, and not really our generation, just everyone should be speaking about more. And these would be directed to my American audience and also to my Dominican audience, because I feel like there are many things we should be speaking about that we are not. And
Agreed.
The first disclaimer I want to give is that we are not experts. However, we did some research, but we are not.
We're not experts in anything about anything that we're about to talk about.
We just want to give very intelligent opinions about...
We think are intelligent opinions.
Exactly. About the topics we will be discussing. And yeah, we will be leaving the links down below of the things that we're
the
sources that we use. And
to base our conversation.
Yeah.
The facts.
That
we're bringing to the table.
And we just want to say that we're still learning, and if by any chance we say something that might not be accurate or real, then you're welcome to comment down below anything you'd like to bring into the conversation. This is pretty much a conversation starter. That's the goal of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so our first topic will be, as the proud
drum roll,
sex ed, and why we should be talking about it, aka the importance of it. So would you like to talk about why we're talking about this?
Sure. So, we have a PowerPoint presentation here to the left, so if you see me looking to the left or her to the left, it's because we're addressing to the PowerPoint presentation. We want to keep on schedule. Anyways, so sex ed has been something that I can comfortably say has lacked in our lives.
Very much. Lacked.
So,
Systemically affecting.
Almost non-existent. No, I don't want to say non-existent. Our mom kind of said something at some point.
Not the best information. Available out there.
School we did sex ed for a semester. And it was pretty much mostly a joke, I would say.
And avoiding STDs. I think they
just talked about the reproductive system, avoiding STDs, but it was never really something that it was really dived into, and especially where we come from, it's taboo. It's not something that's discussed. Especially for women. So, I mean, we just thought it would be a really good subject to touch upon, and how now that information is more accessible to people because of technology and smartphones and whatnot, if you really want to find information about something, you really can. Yeah. So, I mean, we wanted to talk about how it's affected us, how we feel it's affecting society, Dominican society specifically.
Definitely.
And how important we think normalizing it is, and how the benefits that it will bring to our society and to just people in general, their happiness in general.
And the consequences of not having it, essentially.
Exactly. So, I mean...
Detrimenting completely.
I mean, with that being said, let's just dive into it and talk about that. Do you want to talk about the first part?
Okay, so sex ed. What is sex ed? So we have two different definitions. One is by Planned Parenthood and then Good Therapy. So we wanted to use Planned Parenthood because they're the largest sex ed providers in the USA. However, it could sound as biased given to the controversial topics that have been given, such as abortion. So we also brought Good Therapy, which is a source of mental health resources that we wanted to dig in. We thought it would be more objective.
A little bit, yeah.
So pretty much Planned Parenthood definition is sex education helps people gain the information, skills, and motivation to make healthy decisions about sex and sexuality.
Notice how they say motivation to make healthy sex decisions. So that's why there's the bias thing right there. Yeah. Because people are having sex whether you like it or not. And they understand that, so it's a matter of giving people the information. But granted, they are the source that understands that people are having sex, are okay with it, and then, they're just providing information.
It's essentially a reality, okay?
But, I mean, again, we're being biased, too. Yeah. We're not really
Sex happens.
Objective.
Sex happens, that's a reality.
But because we knew they would be a little more skewed towards one direction, we wanted to provide a second definition, like she said, from Good Therapy. And basically it is sex education, sometimes referred to as sexuality education, is any process dedicated to providing information about sexual techniques, practices, and health or human sexuality. However, the term is usually used to refer to sex education for children, either at home or in school. Also, they provide the different types of sex ed that are just...
I didn't know that there were actually types of sex
I did not know
I thought there was bad and good, and that was
yeah, I just figured that some have more information than others, and that's just it. I didn't know there were types.
Yeah.
But after reading the types, it makes sense.
To qualify them.
I think that once we go into them, you're gonna like identify with some of it. You're gonna be like, you know what, that's what happened to me. And
I think,
yeah. So the first one is abstinence only sex education, which is the primary form of sex education that was given to us.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of you that went through the same thing, but this is mostly where our parents focused on.
Yep.
Which, I mean, granted.
It has use at some point.
Granted, not only that, but like, you gotta also think about like where our parents grew up, the information they were given.
Obviously they did their best.
The environment they were in. It was always, we understand that it was always always came from a good place. It was never
it was for our good. Like they thought about what was
it was
best
never
for us.
Intended to be something negative.
Yeah. However, it still was.
But it sucked.
It still was. It essentially was.
Anyways, abstinence only sex education. So students learn basic mechanics of sex. So where to put what where, what organ is what,
and
where they are, and that's it, right? They don't get information about birth control or disease prevention. So they're not taught what condoms are or any of that.
Or pills.
Because if you're not having sex, you don't need to know anything about it because you're just not having it. So
that's pretty much what they teach. Just wait for being an adult or being married to have sex.
Yeah, so that's another point. So they teach children to wait until marriage or adulthood. And then several studies show that it is not effective and potentially can increase sexual risk-taking behavior and STDs as well. Now, full disclaimer for everybody watching, this was mainly how we were taught: don't have sex because you'll get pregnant and die.
I mean, she did tell us disease.
But our parents, this is just because in case our parents watch it, they did teach us about.
Fuck that, no.
They did.
They said condoms.
Okay, but
I guess
something.
I guess
there was so there were some stuff. This is just a disclaimer to make our parents feel better. Anyway,
keep going.
I digress. Anyway, so second type of sex ed, health and safety oriented sexual education. Now this is kind of similar, but this does teach about, safety. So it talks about the mechanics of sex, the safety, so different types of birth control and the dangers that can come with having unprotected sex.
And usually they're better equipped because they know how to prevent stuff. So putting condom and whatnot. The problem with this one is that it doesn't prepare the emotional implications of having sex, which is the one that leads us to the last one, which is comprehensive sex education.
I'm sure none of you have heard of this in your fucking life.
I never had a comprehensive sex education in my
life. So this is an attempt to address both safety and emotional concerns regarding sex. Students might learn the basics of sexual negotiation. This is where consent kind of comes in, and learning how to please a partner. Now, super revolutionary thought. Nobody in their right mind, when they're teaching you sex ed in school, anybody thinks about pleasure. Pleasure is completely off the table because it's something so taboo. And it's just something that you naturally need to know how to do because we're born knowing what the hell, how our bodies function and what you like. I'm supposed to know it because
it's the same as what you said about our parents coming from. Like if they don't talk about sex, then talking about sex to us is just awkward as fuck. And it's just like you're telling your little daughter. Like I understand that point of telling your little daughter, hey, this is how you get an orgasm. But it's very essential to know that. Like it's still a responsibility to have.
Exactly. Well, my feel is that they don't have to teach you how to do it,
But to know that you have that right,
But
that doesn't
like
mean you need
it's okay
to get
feel pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure is okay. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. And we're
gonna go into that later.
Another thing is that it addresses diverse sexual orientations, which is why this type of sex ed is highly controversial because, you know, not a lot of people feel comfortable with talking about this kind of stuff.
No.
And there's a lot of different things that come into this. Politics, religion, blah, 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 blah,
Too many uncomfortable shit nobody wants to talk about.
Exactly. So, I mean, the reason why this is so effective and it helps people become more aware because it helps people become more aware of what's going on out there.
I think people feel more identified when you can say, hey, I know this is what you like,
exactly,
and this is how you figure out what you like.
And it's okay if you don't like this, it's okay. But if you like, and it's okay, all of it is okay. And this is all that is available to you.
Yeah, and like there are so many dimensions to sex that there are so many things that you can like and so many things you don't have to like. Okay guys, so our camera died for a minute and yeah, we're cut off right in the middle of the conversation. So we're just gonna jump right into the next section, which is how the lack of sex ed is affecting society and Dominican society, which is where we come from. And also want to make a side note that our dogs are here and one of them is snoring a lot. So if you hear that noise, it's her.
And she's taking a nap.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Alright, so I mean, we're just going to drop some stats before we talk about the general concept. So this whole section is about how less sexual education leads to, number 1, higher teenage pregnancies, number 2, higher STDs, number 3, increase in overall poverty of the country, and number 4, increase in acts of violence. So 90% of the population in the Dominican Republic are adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19. That is 19% of the population. 22% of women between those ages have been pregnant. So that's 22%. And that is 34% higher than all countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. 34% higher.
So alarming.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is just crazy.
We're a little.
So we are a super tiny island in comparison to a bunch of countries in Latin America.
It's crazy.
So I mean, the thing is that this is kind of common sense because if there's a lack of education, there's going to be higher pregnancies, higher spread of STDs because people just don't have
the access to
knowledge. They just don't know, and obviously it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, and also it's just that most of the population is poor, so most of the population does not have access. We're literally a small part of a small group that has this access to this education, this somewhat education. Then the rest is just kind of doomed into this cycle that we're talking about of how you get pregnant, you don't know what you're doing, you get pregnant, you have not one, but a bunch of children, and then you're not financially stable to provide for this children. Then we have a bunch of poor families who are struggling, and then these kids
grow up
to
make the same mistakes their parents did. So it's just like this cycle
perpetuated
that it just never ends because there's no way of breaking it. And the thing is that usually there are no educational components in schools. Public schools don't have a sexual education component. Maybe now there might be organizations that are coming in and trying to teach kids more, because I know that there's been a lot of movements in the Dominican Republic about educating the masses, which is wonderful. But it's that family at home education, which is so crucial for kids, especially teenagers. Having that support, that being able to talk to your parent about this kind of stuff.
I mean, for us, like, what affected us the most was our parent teaching us was not school.
Exactly.
Or whatever we learned at
school was not the source for us.
It was additional.
Understand. It was something that just added on to, but it was not really the source of the education.
And I think, like, we can just dive in, which is, like, that point that we're gonna dive in more, I think it's all out of the fact that it's a religious country.
Fun fact. The Dominican Republic is the only country in the world that has the Bible in its flag. Only country in the world that has the Bible in its flag. That's just so you understand.
I know that. I know that.
The religious ground like that we
So
were
politics
raised
are mixed
in.
with.
And politics are definitely
religion.
mixed with religion.
And then
from the beginning
education
of
is,
time.
public education is
So-
mixed with religion.
So, I mean, obviously, like, there are some schools in the Dominican Republic that are more
Yeah.
religious than others. We were not really...
It wasn't religious.
It wasn't really a religious because it just wanted... The school wanted to be more accepting of multiple religions, all religions, so it didn't really focus on one. But most other schools were Catholic, Christian schools, right? And the thing is that for religion, sex is so associated with sin.
Yeah.
So sex before marriage is it's just straight up sin.
No, it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't be happening. That means you are corrupting your soul, you're corrupting yourself,
and then we teach, I mean they teach you don't have sex. They go for the
Exactly,
abstinence
they go
choice.
for the abstinence
you shouldn't
choice.
have sex before marriage
Before
or before you're an adult.
Exactly. So, which again, if that's your choice,
I mean that's fine, yeah.
kudos to you.
But
That's awesome.
I think you should know
But
beforehand.
the thing is that everybody should be entitled to have the information available. These are your options.
Yeah.
To make a choice based on the options and the information
An
you're
informed
given.
choice.
Be informed.
Yeah.
Do not condemn people for having these natural urges because this is just nature.
This is nature.
When you grow up and you become a teenager, you're getting all these hormones, things that your body's changing.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with these things, and then suddenly you're becoming more attracted to
and then there's this pressure of, no, you're a bad person if you do this.
So then there's a negative connotation associated with you, with all these changes that are naturally happening to your body that you have absolutely no control over.
Literally, no control over.
Whether you are interested in the opposite sex, in the same sex, whether you identify as a woman, a man, whatever, all these changes that are happening to you are super out of your control. So you should not be condemned for it. It should not be associated with something negative.
And they're just suppressing it. They condense sex ed into one thing that it should be, rather than all the things that it can be. And then it's your choice, and it's up to you to choose whatever that may be.
So you're not given that choice.
Yeah, so
and it's just associated with something negative. So that's why, like...
And then essentially, like, whether you do it or not, you're just feeling like shit because you're a horrible person. Exactly. And whatever you do is going to lead to a bad consequence. Like, whatever you do when it comes to sex is going to lead to a negative consequence. It can never be a positive one.
Exactly. So, and this comes into the next thing. So, if you have no knowledge and you don't understand sex, it's so much harder to get to pleasure. So, again, that taboo, sex is bad, sex is sin. The pleasure that comes with sex is a sin.
It's already hard to get to know what pleasure is and how to achieve it, and then you have the component of, oh, this is bad.
Exactly.
I'm a bad person for doing this, and something bad is going to happen.
I'm a bad person for even wanting it.
Yeah, for even wanting it, and then something bad is going to happen if I do it. And then you have, I'm sorry to like go on a tangent, but you have these urges, and then something happens, and you feel bad because it was a bad thing from the beginning, even though it's completely natural. So then you can go into the step now.
So ABC News actually released an article about how 75% of women don't orgasm from intercourse alone. So you're having penetrative sex, just normal sex, men and women. 75% of women do not have an orgasm from that.
And I feel like this is something that many people do not know.
You
don't,
almost
almost no one gets an orgasm from just intercourse. It's really hard.
It's like
it doesn't.
That's a unicorn. Like a unicorn vagina.
Literally, it's very hard. So if it doesn't happen, that's normal that it doesn't happen.
So
and if it does, kudos to you.
For real.
For a great vagina.
If you're having sex with a guy, he's like, oh, did you come?
And then you're just like, should I?
Yeah.
That's
great.
Goes awesome.
So don't feel pressured. That's normal. It's okay.
Completely fine.
Join the club. So then also, 10 to 15% of women never in their lives achieve it. Never get they don't get there. It's not like it's not just it does not happen.
That's
like
end goal.
15%. You know how fucking sad that is?
That is really sad.
That is so
that is really
sad. It's so horrible, and it's because they just don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's so many everything that we've spoken about. There's so many negative connotations into wanting to know,
and that's even before getting there.
Exactly.
You're already with a bunch of bad negative things before you get to the act, which is emotionally implicated itself.
Exactly.
For most people. For many people.
There was another article, and this was from Psychology Today, the article was titled, Why So Many Women Don't Have Orgasms. And then basically what you can gather from this is that the more sexual, and this is more for female body individuals. So
definitely.
The more sexual acts that are done to a female-bodied individual, the higher the chances for that person to reach an orgasm.
I mean, it works for both genders. It's just higher for women. Like the more actions
for women, it's more difficult.
Yeah.
And I think, mostly everybody knows this, but maybe not.
I think so. Really.
But it's for women, it's harder to achieve orgasms because the thing is that we function in a completely different way. There's just so many things inside, outside of us that just are triggered differently.
Yeah.
And so basically, the article reports that 95% of men report orgasms when they have sex. 95% of the men. 5%. That's almost all of them.
Yeah.
And then 69% of women report orgasms when they have just sex in general. That can include
this is sex in general.
Right? Conclusion of the study is that older and more educated women are more likely to speak up when they're having sex. They feel more comfortable, have more confidence because they know what they want. They know what they like.
They know what they can get.
Exactly. So they are more likely. They're more likely to reach orgasms than other women. Like when you combine all these things together, and that includes foreplay, that includes just
different actions. Are not even the same for everyone.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna dive into that because the thing is that again, everybody's different. Everybody likes different things, and that is super okay.
And the point is that you have to know that you have so many options, so many different actions that can lead you to have a better sex life and higher pleasure if you know that you can get them.
Side note, now that we're talking about that, I just want to dive into something really quick that we actually did not speak about prior.
Are you gonna make me uncomfortable?
It's gonna make you uncomfortable, but it so much. It has so much to do with this. So again, so if we are able to remove the negative connotation associated with sex and just how taboo it is, how can you as an individual learn what you like? How can you understand this? I'm Nicole, I like this. This is how I like to be touched. This is where I like to be touched.
And that begins with masturbation.
Exactly. Oh, you got a high five for that. Oh my god, like people have such a negative fucking connotation to masturbation. It's such a negative thing. It's seen as such a filthy, negative,
especially for women.
Thing.
Even with men, but I think even more with women.
More with men than with women, I feel, because the thing is that I feel like when people talk about female masturbation, it's kind of associated with like this sexy thing because women are more sexy than men.
I did not go through that.
Women are more, I feel like women are more associated with a sexy kind of feel because, I don't know, society, whatever.
Sexual
But because the thing is that when men are growing up, I feel like they go through a higher struggle when it comes to masturbation because they have like more urges. I'm not saying this is true or not. This is just based on what I've heard from my fellow male identified folks. There's urges and even when they're babies, there's like kids, like boys that are just like grabbing their penises and they're just pulling and yanking that shit. Like it's like whatever.
Moms are like, no.
Exactly, but like you will never understand what you like, how you like it, where you like it, unless
you do it.
You do it.
Yeah.
Because it's so, I mean, how can you demand another human being
to give you something
you don't even know that you want? How do you expect that person to just come in and be like, I know what I'm doing, I'm gonna go here, she's gonna love it? I mean,
I would like to know if what she said is true to not your experience, but what you think might be true. Like, do you think men are more like negatively connotated for masturbating than women. I feel like it's the
so.
other way around completely.
I think.
But I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, if you think it's more for women or for men. I think it's for everyone, but I think it's more for women.
No, I think men are like associated to be disgusting for masturbating. It's like, you're so gross.
I feel like for women, it's more like, oh, you're a fucking whore. Like, you're so fucking...
No, I feel like if someone talks about like women masturbating, I mean, granted, okay, so this is the difference. This is the difference. And I think I'm going on a side note, but I don't care.
Complete side.
So, if someone tells a guy that another guy was masturbating, they're gonna be like, dude, okay, sure. If you tell a woman that a guy was masturbating, you're gonna be like, ew, right? Now, if you tell a woman that another woman is masturbating, they're gonna be like, oh my god, what a horrible. If you tell a man that a woman is masturbating, oh my god, bro, that's so awesome.
I feel like there are four dimensions to that conversation.
Okay, but there is on at least one side of it, there's a positive associated with that. Where in the other case, there's no positive because men are gross.
I'd have to
whatever.
Have that conversation.
I'm just going to like.
I would love to see what other people think about that. And I wanted to jump right into what it's like being open about liking sex and everything that involves it, like being more open about liking whatever you want. How people will judge you if you're like in that same note. How people will judge you if you can say like, oh, I like this, I like this activity, I like this other activity. It's like whenever even I am guilty of this, like someone would say that, I would be like, fuck, she
I remember I had a conversation.
Too much.
I had a conversation with my two best friends a little while ago, and we were talking about. I was mentioning a sex podcast that I really like, which we'll talk about later. And I told them, listen, there's this new thing I tried. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I tried this new thing the other day, and I loved it, and it was great. And people have like this thing about it, but I loved it. And they looked at me like I was fucking like crazy. They both stared at me and there was this awkward silence. And then they're like, good for you. And I was like, and I honestly didn't care because I understand because there's such closed-mindedness associated with sex and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a negative thing about it. Like, for example, like,
it's really hilarious.
Yeah, like in my case, like whenever I'd express how much I like something, for example, in front of my mom, or she would know that I love making out with my boyfriend. I crazy about it, right? And she'd be like, oh, you're such a little whore because you like this. You're such a little whore.
You make it sound so horrible.
And that was the way she said it. Like, you're such a little putica. And it's like, well, putica is not a whore. Essentially, that is a little whore, okay? It's being a little, how your mom is telling you, oh, you're a little whore because, and she didn't mean it in a negative way, but it's like, that's ingrained in my brain. You're a little whore because you like this.
Yeah.
And then what that led me into was I can't talk to my partners about what I like or how many people I've been with, whether it was kissing or sex or whatever, because that would be linked to you're a little whore, and that is not worth respecting. And that was my issue. Like, oh, I can't say that I've been active. I can't show how much I like something and something because then I will not be worth respecting. And that in the same note, people who have a lot of sex, like what we're taught is people who have a lot of sex, they don't respect themselves, whether it's men or women.
Yeah, so there's, again, this negative connotation associated with sex and the fact that if you have a lot of sex, you're dirty.
A whore.
You're dirty. You're a bad person. You don't respect yourself.
You don't respect others.
You don't respect, not others, but
you don't respect yourself.
You don't respect yourself. You don't respect your parents. They didn't teach you anything good.
No.
It's
like pretty much you're not in the right place if you enjoy having sex with different people.
And it's just like if you have information available, and you understand sex, you are taking the right precautions to stay safe. You know the partners you're having sex with.
And I mean, and you're in, like, my point with this is if you are like emotionally, I don't want to say emotionally stable, but you're not looking for something significant in multiple partners. Like maybe I feel lost within my life and I'm gonna start having sex randomly just because it fills that void. Then again, there's this other side where I like having sex, I like having different kinds of sex, I like having sex with different kinds of people, and it does not affect me in any negative way. Then why is that a problem? Why does that mean that I respect myself less than someone else who has
it doesn't make you you less. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you a bad person.
Not at all.
Having sex, it does. It's like, as long as it's something that is not harming yourself or others,
then there's no really.
Why is it bad?
Why are you a bad person?
Why are you a bad person? Why is this a bad thing?
And that's what we were taught. It's you have different partners at the same time, then you don't respect yourself. You're a whore, and yeah, that's just gonna lead to a bad life.
Again, I mean, it's not that we're promoting
go out and have sex
with everybody. It's not that.
Be comfortable.
At the end of the day, it's your choice. You have, but that's what we're trying to explain. You have
the choice to do whatever you want, whatever makes you feel
whatever
good.
Makes you feel good, makes you feel comfortable, whatever makes you who you are, and that is okay. Do not let society
shame you
or the people around you, even family members, friends, people that love you. Don't let them shame you just because they don't understand or just because they don't have the knowledge available. And there's so many
ways that you can do whatever you want.
So many things.
In an ethical way where you don't feel bad about yourself or others.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I feel 100%, I'm the type of person that feels that if you're doing something that's not harming you or harming others,
there's no...
do whatever the fuck you want. Who the fuck cares? It's your life. Live it how you want to live it because it's yours. Now, to get to this place, it just took a long time, and it was not, I did not always know this.
And I think this will lead us into like the last part of talking about with the sex ed that we received, then this is our experience. So my experience with sex ed was, my mom sat me down, and she was like, oh, I got my period. She was like, oh, now you're a woman, and you can get pregnant, and don't let guys touch you because guys only want one thing, and if they put it in, you're gonna get pregnant. Yeah, it was like, if it touches you, you get pregnant. And even if you wear a condom, you could get pregnant. Even if you use pills, you will get pregnant. Pretty much, see it, touch it, look at it, you're gonna get pregnant. So while I had my first boyfriend, at least once a week, pretty much once a week, she would be like, if you have sex, you're gonna get pregnant. If you get pregnant, your life is over. Like, I'm not gonna help you. This is your choice, your life. You're gonna ruin it yourself. And that was pretty much, I wanna say my first boyfriend lasted for 2 years almost. So that's pretty much that, yeah. And so the way I decided to have sex was my best friend at the moment, she had sex and she was like, oh yeah, that's not a big deal, whatever. It just hurt a little and whatnot. So I decided to do it. And once I decided to do it, mind you, I was on the pill. I was on the pill for different reasons, for a different reason, but I was on the pill and I decided to use a condom responsibly. And we had sex, and for me, I felt guilty the moment it stopped. I felt completely guilty. It was like, I'm pregnant because that's why we talked for such a long time. Yeah. You touch it, it comes into you, you're pregnant. I'm pregnant, and that's it, and goodbye life, and that's it. And my boyfriend at the time would get super pissed. He was like, this is not the way. And it's like, it didn't matter what facts would be brought to me. It didn't matter. My mom had already told me, you have sex, you get pregnant. That's pretty much it. And so that's pretty much what sex for me was like, even though it happened even more times later on.
I was like this until recently, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, it took years to get over it.
It took me longer. Yeah. At least I feel you broke out of it sooner than I did, because for me it was pretty recent too. All my sexual experiences came with shame and guilt.
Shame and guilt. It was pretty much
after the fact.
It was like, why did I do it? I'm a horrible person. I made the worst decision of my life.
Exactly. So
why did this happen?
So it was, to me, it was similar. My difference is that I got my period very late. I was almost 15 years old. So I mean, by the time I had the conversation, I was almost 15 years old. I mean, like, I had information about sex for a long time prior to the conversation that I had with my mother. And the conversation I had was, don't have sex. If you have sex, you will get pregnant and die. Like, yeah, literally, I will always remember that scene in Mean Girls, in the gym, the sex ed teacher saying, I'll get pregnant and die. Because it's hilarious, because that was the conversation I had.
Yeah.
Well, not that I will die, but that my life was over. Essentially, I was dead. My life was over. Goodbye dreams, goodbye career, goodbye hopes and aspirations, goodbye everything. Because
even goodbye to that partner. That partner would not, by any chance, take care of whatever happened.
So that too. So the partner would leave because nobody wants to stay with a teenage pregnant. It's just been so bad because I have not enjoyed my sex life.
Most of it, not.
I have not. Most of it, I have not enjoyed. Almost none of it. And it's horrible because you want to do this. Like, you want it. You do it because it feels right, and you do it, and then afterwards you just feel like a piece of crap.
And it's like an ongoing cycle.
No goddamn reason.
At all. When you're actually doing the right thing.
And you're actually taking precautions, because it's not like we didn't. We had information available. Point is that honestly, it just really ruined sex for me in general, because there was always something so negative associated with it. It was not about two people just connecting and finding and being able to just be and have fun. Why is that so bad? So there's always that negative feeling to it, that shame.
So something that is so natural.
Something that's just so natural.
Part of us.
And then until I would say very recently, maybe a year ago, my entire sex life was just packed with shame. Shame on top of shame on top of shame on top of shame. So many layers of shame to something that is so natural. I have finally come to a place where I have accepted that I enjoy having sex, and it's okay.
I mean, I think that came a lot with one experience, and two, I think the podcast helped us a lot.
And then there's this podcast, the Shameless Sex podcast, that's just oh my god, it's
the best.
It's like when you grow up and you're taught about sex, society, your parents, your friends, everybody puts a brick on top of you.
Yeah.
They just put a bunch of bricks on top of you. And you're just carrying all this weight as you go on in your life.
Yeah.
And then you just have all of it. And it's I listened to that podcast, and it was
they just took them all.
You're good. Be free. Do whatever you want.
And it's just and it's just not for us women that oh, you can't have sex. It's also for men, because men are kind of seen as a sex machine, pretty much. It's
and they're supposed to know everything.
They're supposed to know everything.
Supposed to know where to touch, how to kiss, where to kiss, how to do it.
And they're supposed to want to do it 24/7. They're supposed to want it since they're freaking 12.
They're supposed to always get an erection. They're supposed to
always be ready at it.
Be ready. And that is such horse shit.
Yep.
It's just so much bullshit. There is so much that comes with being ready for sex. There's so much physical, emotional. There's so many things that need to get aligned for you to be ready and willing to have sex, and there's just people just don't understand it. And
we have certain expectations from either side.
Unrealistic expectations.
Completely, and it's it leads to unsatisfying sex.
Disappointment.
And then you're I can't talk about this, so I'm just gonna keep this bad sex for the rest of my life. There are women who never reach the orgasm. There are women who never enjoy sex with their husbands, even though they love them, but they're afraid to teach them what they like.
They're just so ashamed of having that conversation.
And then the guy is well, I think everything's fine, or
exactly.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I have to do this. I have to be ready to have sex. And
lack of communication at its best.
Definitely. And I think this is where we close out. Just be informed, and the more open you are to talking about it, it's the more the easier and the better it will become, because you're telling each other what you're comfortable with, what you're ready for, what you're not ready for. And
honestly, and it's the hardest thing at least to me, it's the hardest thing to do. It's oh no, I'm gonna with that. I like that. But to me, it's so hard because the thing is that you want the other person to be happy, and you feel if you tell this person, oh, I like this, please do this, I feel they're gonna feel oh, so I was not doing what I was doing, was that okay? So everything I was doing was not good, so this is what you like. So everything I did, you know what I mean? It just spirals into this huge thing, which is ridiculous.
Because everyone's different, and having this conversation might be different for different people. Like, I'm the kind of person who's like, oh no, do this. I like this, because I already know that I like this, so do this. Like, don't worry about the other stuff. And so then for her, it's like, I don't want to say, because I don't want to hurt your feelings, because I care about your feelings. And the fact that I do this doesn't mean that I don't care about someone's feelings. It's just that I'm more okay with.
I understand that.
It's just that I'm more okay with saying it.
I understand that, but it's
the point is that it's different. It's different from everyone, and the point is for you to feel comfortable having this conversation with your partner. If you already have a partner, and if you're already sexually active, then this is the point where we tell you, first be informed about all the things that you have available to you when it comes to safety and when it comes to pleasure, and then just talk about what you feel open to trying and to have in your sex life, because it has so many dimensions to it. It's insane that it's just a matter of being curious and being okay with being curious about the things that you want to try.
And also being okay with saying no.
Yeah.
Because people talk, I know that a lot of people that talk about sex and talk about, how okay it is, like sometimes they forget to mention them.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. It's okay to not want it. It's okay to not want any of it. It's okay to
not want it at all. Like, not even ever.
It's perfectly fine, but don't be ignorant just because you don't want it. Be informed. Understand it. Understand what are the consequences. Understand yourself, and then based on the information you have, then make that decision. Say, you know what, I'm honestly not interested. I'm okay not having.
Sometimes you might be missing on something just because you don't know that it exists.
Exactly.
And that has been a lot of us and a lot of women who not women, just like people in general. Just because you don't know that something's going on doesn't mean that it's not something that you might like or might not like. But the best part is knowing.
Exactly.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. So with that, we want to close this with how we think that normalizing sex is so important. I mean, based on everything we just said, I mean, it will lead to a healthier sex life.
A safer and more pleasurable sex life.
Healthier, better, safer, whatever. It'll lead to you'll be happy. I mean, I'm all about happiness.
Yep.
So you'll just be happy because you'll be safe. You'll understand yourself. You'll understand other people. You'll understand just the concept of it.
And you will be yourself.
Exactly.
Which is the most comfortable thing you can be. Just be yourself and be into whatever you're into.
Exactly.
And know that you don't have to be pressured to do anything else. That's not.
And know that everybody is just as confused as you are. Everybody's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that every guy, every girl has stared at a penis or vagina and be like, what the fuck do I do with this?
Literally.
What do I do with this? Is he, she going to like this? Am I doing it right?
Or why is this so ugly? Okay. I don't like this. What am I supposed to do?
Do I smell? Do I taste good? Oh my god, what is it? Like, it's just all that crap. Yeah. Everybody, every other human being is feeling it, is going through it. You're not alone with it. So by just knowing that, that kind of makes it a little easier to just open up the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to start up the conversation. And if you feel like you don't have someone that you can talk to about this, someone that can give you information, or you're scared, you're ashamed, because guilt, oh my god, that shit is so hard to get rid of.
That's the hardest thing.
And shame is just so hard to get rid of it. But if you don't have anyone that you feel comfortable about talking about this, like, I know that you're gonna leave the links below
to get some good
so we have some sources that are gonna help you get a little bit more informed and learn a little more about sex.
Oh, also, it's gonna lead to less teenage pregnancies. The more people know how to have safe sex, the less it's gonna happen, and less STDs. Some STDs are for life and are worse than having children at a young age. Mm-hmm. And also, you're gonna be more yourself, and you're gonna be freer from social pressures. So, on the educational sources that I'm gonna leave down below are gonna be the Shameless Sex podcast, which is our favorite podcast on sex.
Yay, Amy and April, we love you.
Yep. Damn right. I feel like they pretty much
you don't
They
understand.
just revolutionized our sex life. And then,
but by the way, just disclaimer: the Shameless Sex podcast,
very open. Very.
It's like when you're ready to hear the word pussy and dick. Like,
yeah.
Like drop like nothing.
Bombs like you have to be open to.
You have to be very comfortable with that. Like very comfortable with that.
Definitely.
Next.
There's also amaze.org, which is something that we found together, and I think it's pretty cool because it shows videos and whatnot that it's kind of like you kind of identify yourself with it, I feel.
Yeah.
They know it's awkward, they know it's kind of weird.
It's
so.
more geared towards teenagers.
Yeah.
And parents teaching teenagers and kids about sex ed. But I mean,
yeah. I think at any point you're okay.
Yeah, if you're at any point in
you need to learn either way. There's also Planned Parenthood because they know their shit, even though they might be a little biased. They know their shit. And there's also, I'm gonna tag the lady below, Elaine Feliz, if you're from a Dominican audience or if you're a Spanish-speaking person. She is an activist in DR and she is a sex educator and she gives conferences in DR where she educates even poorer communities about this. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Yeah, I'm happy with the way this.
This came out pretty good.
It's our first time, right?
We went on a few tangents, but I think
I think that
pretty fucking good.
Yeah. So this is pretty much it for tonight, and yeah, I hope you liked this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts on what we talked about, you're welcome to join and comment down below what you thought. If you thought this was good, any other topic you'd be happy to hear about or for us to talk about. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!